in the broadest sense of the word, we get three types of support stroke peer services. And they've gone up and down, really. So, the oldest one of all is just peer-to-peer service that's got nothing to do with treatment or agencies or funding. So that's AA, isn't it? So that's peers to peers providing their own service in a way. Yes. We now have modern versions, and I know on our film series we've got an interview with James, for example, that's an exclusively peer-to-peer service. So we can have modern versions of that. So but very early on, we would have actually had far more advocacy-based services, and we can go all the way back in the drug and alcohol world to roles of people like Terence Higgins in the HIV and AIDS period, where people were really advocating for people to just have basic rights. So this was service users and ex-service users acting on the behalf of the others to get the basic stuff. And that's advocacy. Of course, neither of these two things represent the large part of what goes on today. The largest part of what goes on today is people with lived experience stroke peers actually being employed by drug and alcohol agencies. So they neither have the independence from that agency, nor are they challenging that agency, and they can't do it because it's their jobs. Yes. And we call that all sorts of things. We call that peer mentoring. We call it lived, they've got so many different words for that. And that's where the bulk of it's gone. And it's fed into a very simple external narrative, but it's fed into an internal one as well, of course, because many people want to do that as part of their recovery, is work with others and give back. And so if this is so, just like I make a point that we need to be really clear about those three subtle differences.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a very good...
Advocacy is about peers and the people that challenge the system. Peer-to-peer recovery is not controlled by the system or dependent on the system. And then a bulk of it, and again, it's very legitimate. I'm really happy to see it. And of course, Ian was doing it even in them days, is to employ people with lived experience as both volunteers and or employed staff and all the rest of it. But you can't challenge or be independent once you're taking the king's shilling, the salary, as it were. So this becomes really important.